Alright, so I'm going out to test two lenses. Alright, both are having same focal length, both are having the same aperture from two different camera manufacturers or lens manufacturers, and both are different. Actually, one gives more bokeh than other, even though they are having the same identical aperture. So one is giving more bokeh, other is giving more sharpness, and blah 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 blah. So I'm going out for testing them, and I want you guys to come with me and see. All right, let's go out. All right, so here we are at the location. Just arrived, and it's in the middle of Sharjah desert. Not desert exactly, but kinda. So let's go out and test those two lenses, shall we? Alright, so the lens that I'm going to test are the two, which are these two 35mm. So this is Nikkor 35, alright, f2 T type, which is can focus on all the D800 series, D7000 series, D500, and all the flagship. So you can autofocus with this lens on all these cameras. The only two series on which this lens do not autofocus is D3000 series and D5000 series. All right. The second lens is Carl Zeiss 35mm f2 Distagon. So this lens is mind-boggling sharp, like intergalactic sharp. This lens, and all metal. Everything about this lens is metal. So even the lens hood is made of metal, like literally is made of metal, and it got aperture ring. It's a manual focus lens. It's not autofocus, but it's 35mm f2, and the other lens is this one. There's 35mm f2 from Nikkor, made in Japan. This is also made in Japan. Made in Japan. This is more kind of a plasticky feeling. It's made of plastic, but surprisingly, both are having 35mm f2. But surprisingly, this one gives you more blur. Why? Because this one can autofocus closer. So its minimum focusing distance for this is less than this one. So that's why the blur that you can get from this lens is more than Carl Zeiss. That's the advantage of this lens. So I'm going to shoot with these two lenses on my D700, and there is a reason for it. Why D700? Because I want to show you the colors of these two. So one is good for bokeh, one is just for sharpness. Which one is good for colors? We can verify this from the D700. All right. So let me switch to D700. By the way, I'm going to start with this 35 f2 and I'm going to shoot this tree and let's see how it goes. Alright, shall we? Alright, so I'm having this 35mm f2 D type on D700 and I'm going to shoot that tree. I will be shooting at f8 obviously, and I will try to shoot an aperture priority. White balance will be auto obviously, and yeah, with no correction dial. So that's it. Um, so let's start shooting. Okay, I hope you can hear me, right? All right, so what shall I shoot? Let me see. The composition is the key thing, and okay, let me take a vertical shot. No, vertical not gonna work. I have to come back because I have to shoot from here. I try to capture everything. All right, so let's see. Okay, so right from here. Let me see if I can capture this from not from here. Yeah, from here. Okay, all right. Okay, this is the first shot. 1, 2, and 3. Why I'm having this thing? Okay, 1/25th of a second, f8, and it's kind of all the settings are off. I have to exposure. I dial the exposure count. Okay, all right. So let's try. Okay, why the ISO is stuck? All right. Ah, that's why. You know this easy exposure compensation feature in the Ziess in the Nikon. So when you aperture priority or shutter priority, and you change the rear, you just rotate this rear command dial. You are basically changing the exposure compensation, and that's exactly what happened with me over here. So I have to go to the manual mode now with the auto ISO and then at f8, and I'm going to lower my shutter speed to, let's say, 100 of a second. Try to see. Okay, f8 auto ISO. Alright, that's good. Okay, that's good. So 1, 2, 3. The first exposure, spot on. Boom. Looks right, but I'm not satisfied. I have to go close and I have to take some close-up shots in order to get more detail. This is right from the camera, looks decent. Let's see. Alright, so I have to take some close-up shots to get the details of this lens, 35mm. And alright, now let me try to capture this texture. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Alright, nice. What gives you the best texture to capture of any lens? It gives you that sharpness. The wood from any tree, if you capture it, it gives you the best sharpness of the lens. I mean, that looks good. Let me try that. 1, 2. Okay. The dynamic range, and then I have to take this shot. Okay, so I took this shot. Okay. Okay, let's try. Now I'll switch to Carl Zeiss, and I'm going to capture the same type of shots over Carl Zeiss and get back to you. Okay, so now I am having this Carl Zeiss 35 f2. All right, and the good thing is that I can fix this at f8 for this aperture, and I'm going to start shooting immediately. So let's see. Oh, I have to start from here. The first shot was from here. Alright, f8. Come back a little. Okay. Looks okay. Now, the best thing about this lens calls as a sharpness. That detail looks more saturated on the back of the camera LCD. But we'll see in the Lightroom on the computer screen, then we'll see. Okay. Alright, so so this will be the first shot. Okay. Alright, f8. 1, 2, 3. Okay. The next shot was of this. The light is gone. The light over here is not that much. Okay, that still looks. Let me see if. Okay. Alright. And the next shot is off. Okay. So I'm not able to have the same light for the Zeiss, but it's fine. We'll see. Okay. And this is the last shot. See, the whole idea is to check the colors and the sharpness of this lens. Of course, one is manual focus, one is autofocus, but that's okay. Okay. All right. F8. F8. Okay. The shutter speed was kind of a different in both lenses, but the idea of this video is to share with you the overall sharpness, the color rendition, the out of the camera images, all that good stuff. So that's what we are trying to do here. The sun is setting beautifully, and let's go back home and see the images on the screen. All right, and then we'll compare. All right, so here we are in the Lightroom, and these are the images that I took. The first 5 images were taken, as you saw me, with the 35 f2 D-type, which written over here. This was the first 6 images actually, from here all the way to here. These 6 images was taken from the this 35 f2 D-type, and from this images, from image number 7 to 12, these images were taken from the Carl Zeiss. Now here's the thing, you need to understand that by the time I switched to Carl Zeiss, the light over the horizon was kind of dim, and it was not as bright as it was when I was shooting with 35mm f2. Like for example, if you look at this light and this light, big difference. This was taken when I was shooting 35mm f2 D-type from Nikon, and this was taken with 35mm f2 from Carl Zeiss. Big difference. But here we are going to check the overall image quality, the output, the bokeh, the sharpness, and blah blah blah. So this was taken at both lenses were shot at f8. This was taken at f8, and this was also taken at f8. So let's compare them side by side. So on my left hand side I have Nikon 35mm f2, and on my right hand side I have Carl Zeiss 35mm f2 Distagon. So when I look into the 100%, of course the white balance on the Nikon is much more warmer, much more contrasty, on my left hand side it's Nikon 35f2, on the right hand side it's Carl Zeiss 35f2. Both looks sharp, and always the image output from the 35f2 which is more warmer. So let's go into the second image. So this was from this and this. Let's jump in. As I told you earlier, the Carl Zeiss is much more sharper. You can see the sharpness over here, which is far more sharper than Nikon. This is Nikon on the left hand side. On the right side is Carl Zeiss. Carl Zeiss sharpness, the micro contrast on the Carl Zeiss is beyond, it's like wow. You can't see that micro contrast. Of course there is, but on the Carl Zeiss is much more than the 35 from Nikon. Much more. You can see. Wow. Look at the texture over here. It's so sharp. Wow. This is also sharp, but not as sharp as the Carl Zeiss. Carl Zeiss is way sharper than Nikon. Nikon is out of focus because of this was a 7.1 effect, but it doesn't matter still. Just okay, look at the texture over here and over here. Because of the high contrast, you can see the details. Over here, it's not that contrasting, Carl Zeiss, but still, look at the sharpness over here. Over here, it's really sharp. And Nikon, it's not. And when we look at this texture, both are equally sharp. So the sharpness of the Nikon somewhere over here. Zeiss is over here. Next, okay, this is where the light basically ruined everything. This and this compare. So on my left hand side is Nikon 35f2. On my right hand side I have Carl Zeiss. So even if I try to bring the exposure of both at the same level, look at the sharpness over here. Nikon looks really sharp this time. Carl Zeiss is manually focused, that's why. Nikon looks really sharp. Okay, here we are. So if you look over here, this texture and this part. And if I go further down, this texture and this texture, and this, both are really sharp. Both are really sharp. Whatever the area is in focus is crazy sharp. Okay. Now this is going to be interesting, these ones. Okay, so on my left hand side, Nikon 35f2 type. On my right hand side, it's Carl Zeiss 35f2. Here we go. Look at that. Okay, no it is. Look at the sharpness of the Carl Zeiss. Carl Zeiss is killing Nikon 35f2. It's literally killing. The micro contrast on Carl Zeiss is off the chart. You can see every micro tiny detail over here on the wood on this Carl Zeiss, which is not there. Of course, it's the focusing issue, but still, I'm at f8. It should be in focus, which is not. And I was using the same 35, same D700. So which area is in focus of this? Look at the blur. Look at the blur. Okay, the outer focus, the background blur is more on Nikon 35f2, not on Zeiss. The Zeiss blur is not good in compared to Nikon. Nikon got more blur than this. It's very obvious. It's very obvious. You see the bokeh balls? You see the bokeh balls over here? It's much more bigger than this Carl Zeiss. But the Carl Zeiss sharpness is like wow. It's just damn. Damn, look at the out of focus area. The Nikon 35 f2D type is able to produce more background blur in compared to Carl Zeiss. That is very, very, very clear. Okay, let's go to another image. This, compare. On my left hand side is Nikon 35 f2D type, on my right hand side is Carl Zeiss. This frame is not exactly the same, but let's go and check this kite. And it's not that good example to compare. Let's go and check the other one. This one, comparing this. Alright. It's really strange. So if I compare them in the developed model, then it makes sense. So this is Carl Zeiss. This is Carl Zeiss. Yeah, this is Carl Zeiss. And it's way sharp. If I look over here, let's keep this. And this is like 35. Nikon 35 f2 is sharp, but the Carl Zeiss is beyond. It's beyond. So the whole conclusion is this, that when I go and compare these two lenses side by side, on the left hand side is Nikon 35 f2, on my right hand side is Carl Zeiss 35 f2. The Nikon got its own advantages, produced more warmer colors, more saturated, more contrasting. The background blur by Nikon 35 f2D type is more in compared to Carl Zeiss, but Carl Zeiss has its own advantage, which is sharpness, micro contrast, and the neutral colors. So if you want sharpness, go with Carl Zeiss. If you want the overall image with autofocus, warm color, contrast, then you go with Nikon 35 f2. So that's my conclusion. Alright, so now we are back, and as you have seen on the screen before on the Lightroom, on the results from these two lenses. Both are 35 f2 lenses, prime. They both have their own characteristic. Like this is the Carl Zeiss, this is more sharper, more micro contrast, and so this Nikon 35 f2D type, this is kind of more compact, gives you more contrast, more color saturation, and white balance towards the warmer side. By the way, this lens is sharp, but this is more sharper, as you have seen. So I purposely took the images of the wood because the wood gives you the best micro contrast of any lens. If you want to check how good the micro contrast of any lens or the sharpness of any lens is, just go out there and shoot the woods. It gives you the best result. So when it comes to which one I have to choose if I want to shoot 35 millimeter, well, it depends. If I need sharpness, if I have all the time in the world and I need sharpness, if I want to shoot kind of a fashion thing, I would go with this Carl Zeiss 35 f2. But if I want to go run in the like street photography and more kind of a landscape quickly on the go, I would go with this 35 f2. And if I are low on budget, if I have limited budget, I would go with this, because Carl Zeiss, the Carl Zeiss is expensive. This lens is expensive because build quality, all metal. The new version of this 35 f2 is called Milvis lineup. Milvis is not as good as this one, Distagon, because this lens is supreme, sublime, like, wow. I cannot say how sharp it is on micro contrast. You see in the on the Lightroom how it was. This one, budget friendly, compact, easy to travel with, lightweight. This is heavy. Carl Zeiss is heavy because of all metal construction. This is more plasticky, compact. You can easily move it around, and for budget friendly users, oh sorry, for budget friendly, it's a win-win situation. Carl Zeiss is more about quality. It's more about, you know, premium image output. Of course, you can get sharp images from Nikon, but it's not it's sharp, but this is more sharper. So that's my conclusion, and I just made this video out of nowhere because I was feeling bored, and I was like, okay, let me go out and do some testing because I love to do these kind of things. And I hope you like this video. I'll see you guys in future with some new content. All right, till then, take care. Bye.